G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do.
Hello Louise.
Good morning, Graham.
How are you, darling?
I'm great, how are you?
Good to see you. Can I come in and see what you're up to?
Yes, I'd love you to.
Excellent.
Come on in.
Come this way, guys. This is going to be great. Well, viewers, welcome back to another show of Colour in Your Life. Going to have another great day today with a lady called Louise Corke, who happens to be Master Pastelist, also ex-president of the Australian Pastel Society. 2005, you won a scholarship to go to New York to do this as well. Some of the words that you use to simply describe what you do are integrity, honesty, loyalty. There's a lot of emotion that goes into your work. Tell me a little bit more about it.
I am totally motivated by nature.
Yes.
And what the world offers me, and so I'm very respectful of that, so I want to portray the magnificent that's there.
And we're going to go through today with Louise, and she's actually given me an idea of what she's going to do. Now she's got a photo that she's already shown me of one of our beautiful gum trees, which seems to have so much character in it, and your work does have a lot of character. You do a lot of things. You don't really quantify yourself into one particular position, do you?
No, I don't want to be locked into a genre because I'm inspired by so many different things. So I'm just whatever gets me excited at the time, that's what I have to paint, and I'm not really painting so much what it looks like, but how I feel about it, my response to what is happening there in nature. Sure,
and it's amazing. You're going to have a great day. Let's get into what we normally do, and we'll go through this process with Louise, and you're going to see a really great creation happen. I mean, her work is just magnificent, so come along for the ride again. Okay, well, we make a start on another great artistic adventure today. Now, obviously being a pastel artist, you guys use various mediums at the back, say for your paper, if you're using Canson or Arches. What is this type of board here? And it's actually a board, and when I touched that before, it's got a real sandy surface to it. What actually is it?
It's actually an art spectrum board.
Okay.
They call it Colour Fix, and it's a card, a Colour Fix card.
And is it the colour at the back here? Is this simply a neutral colour, or can you get it in other colours?
It does come in other colours.
Right.
This is just a soft umber, which I find really excellent. It's applicable to a lot of different subject matters because it is so neutral, and it will make every colour just pop out and look amazing. I have a theory that I want to make the whole process fun and easy.
Okay.
So I just simply choose 3 colours. So I've got one colour for the main tree, and then a different colour for subsequent trees.
Okay.
Because it's quite a complex little study of trees intertwining with other trees, and you can get a little bit lost if everything's the same colour. So it just helps me. It's just a way of organising my thoughts.
Okay. So where do we go from here? What do we do?
All right. Well, I just like to put an apron on to get started.
And you've got, actually I was looking at that before. Now what have we got there? That's the first time I've ever seen these two.
This is Dermex, and it's just a barrier cream when you're working with dry work. And it's a Hamilton product, so it's available at selected chemists. But we do sell it at the Pastel Society of Australia.
Okay.
Now, I visited last year South Australia, And this was a tree that I saw in Clare Valley.
Yes.
And I just loved it.
Beautiful.
From the moment I saw it, I just thought, oh, that's just an amazing tree.
God, it looks magnificent,
It's
doesn't
sort
it?
of hanging on the edge of a little ledge, and it's got
beautiful.
twists and turns. Now, when I've got the drawing like that, it's all very hard-edged.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sort of done a little Margaret Ollie thing here,
Okay.
and that's marking the centre. Now, I can just simply wipe this back and just soften off all that drawing.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just using an old flannel,
Yes.
which works really nicely. Don't lose my drawing, but it just leaves, you know, a little shadow effect.
Sure, sure.
My next port of call, having rubbed it back, is actually to further soften the branches and part of the tree that is more distant.
Mm-hmm.
So this part of the tree is up really close to me, and then this zooms away.
Sure.
So I'm just going to soften this off even more.
Now, what type of rubber or eraser do you have there?
I've just got a Faber-Castell kneadable eraser,
Okay.
which is great. I get about 12 months worth out of this.
Wow.
And you can just rub back. All right, having done that, I've just chosen here a selection of pastels,
Okay.
which are chosen only on the basis of colour, no other thought.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different types in here.
Mm-hmm.
The brand doesn't matter, the colour does.
Okay. But they all perform different
They
types of
all
things, don't
perform completely differently,
Yeah.
and I've cultivated a sense of touch
Yes.
so that when I pick up the pastel, I know what brand it is.
they? Okay.
I know how hard or soft it is,
Okay.
so I know how much pressure I need to apply to the surface.
Wow, that's really knowing your stuff,
Yeah.
guys. Absolutely.
So it's, you know, you can play with your pastels outside of doing a painting
Mm-hmm.
and just close your eyes and get a feel for it. All right, I'm just going to block in what colours I see now
Mhm.
and where I see them. And I'm just giving myself some little guide marks of where things are,
Yeah.
where I see them. I'm following colour blocks. Where I see some colour, I'm just popping it down in that particular spot. And of course that colour has a shape. So I'm a little bit mindful of the shape of some of the colour blocks, but more interested about how these colours are going to play against one another.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at how they react to each other, because you can have an idea from your selection how you think it's going to go,
Mm-hmm.
but once you get it on the surface, it can react quite differently, and you have to listen to that, listen to your painting. It's like the subject talks to you.
You don't find, I mean, obviously being in Queensland and with the humidity that we get up here, you don't find that the humidity affects the work at all?
It can.
Mhm.
It can definitely affect the work. You get just like a little bit of glugging on the paper.
Okay.
It doesn't happen immediately, but in a couple of hours' time you can come back and you can feel, it looks like the pastel's actually drawn itself together,
Oh, okay.
and it's just a little clumping.
Sure.
I don't let it worry me. You know, I'm not that precious about those little marks.
Sure, sure.
I am very precious about not pushing the pastel into the surface,
Mhm.
because the unique quality that sets pastel apart from any other medium is the fact that it's a dry pigment.
Sure.
As soon as you push it into the surface, you've taken away its unique quality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people, when they see a pastel painting, say, what an amazing colour.
Mm-hmm.
And the colour experience comes because the light bounces off each facet of the grain,
Yes.
which is diamond shaped under the microscope.
Okay.
So as soon as you flatten it, you've taken away its unique quality.
Okay.
It's like putting
Like a film of some sort over it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty precious about that. I sort of say, hey, pastel was made to, you know, bounce
Well, she's a
colour
master.
everywhere.
It's like, I'm not going to argue.
It doesn't mean you never don't push it in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might find a technique that you have to do it.
Mhm.
But overall, I like it to be what it was created to be.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big picture person. So I have to look at the whole
Mhm.
in relationship to each other,
Sure.
and then I can zoom in on the detail.
Okay.
Whereas a lot of people will paint from a small detail, such as an eye on a portrait, and work out.
Yeah.
And they work well that way. it's not a better way to work, it's a different way to work. So you're either a big picture person or a little picture person,
Okay.
and your process should generally flow with the way that your brain is wired, rather than try and
Sure.
follow someone else's technique.
No, that's another really good point too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just sort of popping in a few things, give myself some markers,
Yeah.
and then I'll start popping in sky colour.
And you've obviously got the sky, you've got a little sky palette there as well.
I've got a little sky palette, so it was an overcast day,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of cool colours as well as a little bit of warmth in the sky. So I've got a
isn't it?
mixture of warm and cools there.
And it is, in saying that, it is important to actually put warmth into your sky. People look at blue and they go, well, it's just blue.
Yeah.
But unless you're actually manoeuvring all those colours so that they actually work with each other,
Yeah.
it becomes too stark.
That's exactly right. And I like to put lots of colour in for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that I don't think the sky is still. Even on a clear blue day, the sky is not still. Things
Yep.
are happening up there. And the way I can portray that in pastel is if I put in multiple colours,
Sure.
so that the eye can actually move across and have a sense that something is going on there.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, I feel there's a bit of warmth over here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop that in. Now with the lighter pastels, they go down much quicker and much easier because they've got more talc in them.
Okay.
So I have to use a pressure that's much lighter. At this stage now, I can see a relationship between the tree and the sky. So I'm going to start to pop in these additional trees now,
Okay.
just briefly, and then I'm going to work putting some background colour in.
Okay.
And again, all this colour is just about working out what works with what, and not about what's happening there, because the pigments behave differently. Nature can get away with anything,
Sure.
but artists can't.
Yeah.
So we've got this limitation of pigments.
Okay.
So I'll just plot away on this for a few minutes, and everything can change here. Nothing has to stay the same. When I start a painting, I ask myself, why am I doing it? What's the point?
Yeah.
And with this one, it's just about all these lovely rhythms. There's this amazing tree with pattern, and then there's other trees around it, and it's like they're all dancing together, but they're dancing in their own space.
Sure.
So I'm trying to create their own space in which they do their dance.
There seems to be a formula in nature.
Yeah, there is,
yeah.
and it's really nice to watch and observe. And I get to dance on the surface.
Yes.
I'm going to start down in this area here.
Right.
So I've got a very dark green pastel,
Yes.
and I'm just going to pop in the shadow areas. And that goes on really quickly and very lusciously. Now, if anything here is in the wrong spot, it's absolutely no problem to get rid of it, because your kneaded rubber can come in, and if I just want to lighten an area, I can place it over and pull off
Just pull it off.
a significant amount, so I can pull it back, and I've got a softer pass of pastel in that
Oh,
spot.
yes.
So that pulls it back. If I want to get rid of something entirely, I can come in and just rub it back and forth like you would a normal rubber,
Just takes it off.
and it will take it off.
Wow.
If you've put a couple of layers down, and I'll just do an example here, and you feel, oh, that's the wrong colour, I shouldn't have done that. Just a little soft brush
Yes.
will actually take off
Oh, look at that.
that last layer,
Yeah.
and while it won't get rid of all of it,
Yeah.
it gets rid of a lot of the loose pastel, and then you can come back over with that original darker colour, and it will fit nicely over the top. I like to stand back and have a little think about whether it's working or not.
Sure. And that's an important part of your process, is to always step back.
Thinking a lot.
Yeah.
I like to think about 95% of the time.
Okay.
So even before I've done a painting, the hard work is in the thinking. I don't analyse the subject, I think about the subject, I remember the subject, I feel the subject, I take myself back to that place, and I subconsciously prepare myself to do the painting, so that when I wake up one morning I'll say, today I'm doing that piece, because
Sure.
I am there. I've got myself right in the presence of that subject.
Yeah.
Now I can start. Whereas if I just run in and start, I've got no.
Yeah, I totally agree.
No
I
build-up.
think that's a really important fact to state as well, is that I do the same thing where I'll actually sit down and make a mind map.
Yes.
And I go, okay, how am I going to go about this? What do I have to do? Instead of what Louise just said, making a start and not knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. Absolutely it is.
With flowers that I paint, I'll have them here at home, and I'll sit and have a cup of tea with them every
Sure.
day for a week. I'll just enjoy them and absorb what they are. I don't analyse structure or anything else. I feel the colour, I almost drink the colour.
Yeah.
And then when they're almost dead, I can paint them because I know them now. They've become my friend.
Sure.
So I feel that I'm better able to portray them.
That's great.
When I'm doing a portrait of someone, it's important to me that I show them some same respect, like I was talking with the flowers. And Professor Calvin Rose has been a very dear friend of mine for a number of years. And I had one visit to his home and he had 2 visits to my studio. So I was able to work from him, chatting with him, allowing him just to move through the space and just giving him the time of day. He's spent many years to arrive at this stage of his life.
Sure.
So I feel, as a matter of respect, that I need to spend time with him, understand who he is properly,
Yes.
in a more intimate way than an artist needs to know, so I can render him more effectively.
Yeah.
I find it very disrespectful doing a portrait demonstration because it's just quick, done.
Yeah.
I feel like I have violated the person in some way because I'm not portraying who they are.
I think it's knowing your subject.
Yeah.
Spending time with it, as you said.
Yes.
Taking a photo is one thing, but going up and touching that tree is a completely different thing.
That's exactly right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to start just sort of to indicate where the foliage is going to go.
Okay.
Um,
You've got that little
got
little
that.
green palette again there.
that lovely little green, you can
Yeah.
see how it picks up
Yes.
the colour that's already on there. I'm not unhappy about that.
Okay.
That doesn't worry me. Now, I'm not a fan of doing individual leaves.
Sure.
That just doesn't, because actually when you're at the base of a big tree and you look up, you
can't really see it.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's in your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to block in. Now, what's happening up here is what I call the sloppy mix stage of a painting.
Sloppy
A
mix
sloppy
day.
mix stage.
Okay.
When you bake a cake, you have a sloppy mix in the bowl.
Sure.
And my grandson came to me one day and asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm making a cake, and he wanted to have a look. So I showed him, and he just looked at me and said, that's not a cake.
Not yet.
And that's really, turned something on in my head, and I realised that when people paint,
Yeah.
they get to a stage where it's a sloppy mix in the bowl.
Yeah.
Eventually that sloppy mix becomes a cake.
Yeah.
With experience, you know that it's got to start off this way before it becomes something.
Sure.
So this is the sloppy mix
Yeah.
of the foliage.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So don't panic, and people do start to panic because they think, oh, it doesn't look like leaves. It doesn't look like leaves, and that's all that fills their mind. And they're panicking. And that panic gets woven into your surface.
Yes, it does.
And you start to struggle.
Well, what we might do then is we might let Louise continue on with this piece, and because they do take quite some time to do, and when she's finished that, we'll come back and have a chat to her then. See you soon. Well, as you can see, Another amazing piece of work by an incredibly talented lady. You're amazing, absolutely amazing. I'd like to talk a little bit more finish process for a start. Now, would you actually spray that at all?
Look, sometimes I do, but
Yeah.
very rarely. I find if you use the appropriate surfaces, then you don't need the fixative.
Sure.
I mean, Degas used fixative extensively, but he worked on surfaces like tissue paper and whatever he could find. So he needed fixative to make it hang on. Today we are really spoilt with a big range of papers. If I am sending my work overseas, however, I do spray.
Sure.
But I have a process. When I'm finished the work, I will take the painting off the backing board here and give it a bit of a tap on the back, which will dislodge any loose pastel. An old credit card or plastic card, and just carding down the piece
Oh, okay.
very gently will remove lots of pastel
Oh, okay.
from on here. And
Another great technique.
there's no problem that you're not going to destroy a face or anything else like that. You can come over quite easily
Oh, that's great, isn't it?
like that.
Excellent. So, great finished result. How much would you normally sell a piece like this for?
Around about 3,500 framed.
Okay, I mean the framing's magnificent as well. I mean, just you're so professional at what you do. Obviously, being a Master Pastelist and a great teacher, and you're obviously a full-time teacher as well.
Yes.
Anybody that wants to get in touch with Louise about being taught by such an exceptional person, obviously get in touch. Your website is?
LouiseCorke.com.
.com, not .com.au?
No AU.
Okay, just .com. And you're also, obviously because you've established yourself as a Master Pastelist, you're doing teaching in Europe this year as well.
That's correct. Yes.
Amazing stuff. So that's anybody that gets to do things like that and other people want you overseas, you know that they've achieved great things in their life. We're going to leave it at that. We'll head off once again into the wild blue yonder is what we do. But it's been fabulous. Thank you so much for having us in your studio.
Pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Just been really great, and once again, amazing information by an amazingly talented woman. Sensational stuff. I'd like to thank our sponsors as always, Chroma, Australian Art Review, Virgin we're still on Virgin these days. We're off overseas as well. There's some great things coming up this year, so keep in touch with us. You can always go in and see Louise's work and everybody else's at colorinyourlife.com.au. But until we see you again, as we always say, remember, make sure you put some colour in your life. We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.